Great. So I've asked enough questions. Any other questions?
So there are certain personalities who are resistant to change. Like you said, change is a very important factor in this agile world. So with respect to the influencing part, being a leader or heading some department, it's very important to influence people to get
Absolutely.
on board with your ideas. I would like you to throw some light on that. How do you influence people to be a part of the initiatives that you are aiming for?
One way to influence is, of course, logic, right? I mean, reason as to why you're doing it. But to me, I think the more important part is, being able to show how the world will be different if you did these things differently, right? And tell stories about that. So you have to kind of inspire people to see how things will look different, feel different if we followed this new path.
So you just mentioned the transformation part. So what kind of transformation are you expecting from the students? Because we can see that a lot of new initiatives have come up from your end too.
So you see, the 2 years that you are here, and when you come in here, we honestly believe that it's the beginning of a journey that you have kind of started, right? I'm sure you heard that we have now coined as purpose statement, right? And the purpose statement simply, the brief of that is a transforming together, right? And if you want to expand that, it reads, together we enable the transformational journeys of individuals into value-based and purpose-driven leaders who build a better world, right? Because I think and all of you, you're the younger generation, and I'm sure you agree that the state of the world is far from where it should be, right? With the climate change issues that we have, with the geopolitical issues that we have. We haven't seen this kind of, shall I say, situation probably in the last about 2 decades, right? So it's far from where it is, and it is only leaders, and particularly enterprise leaders, who can help to change this world. So to me, these institutes like ours, which has a very powerful legacy of value-based education, have an obligation to start thinking about how do we create leaders who can make this world better, right? And enterprise, right? Businesses have been shown to, because businesses are the ones who have innovated so many things, right? Businesses, by directing the resource into the right place, can create solutions for a lot of problems. Humankind has been on these crossroads before, and it is a lot of enterprises that have come up with solutions. So we believe that, when you are here, those 2 years, one is you imbibe those values, because, you've been selected after going through several tests, etc. So we know that from an intellectual perspective, you are absolutely no problem. You will learn whatever we teach you, from the Excel spreadsheets to economics to how to read a P&L. This is going to be a piece of game for you. But what is more important is inculcating the values. How do you work with other people, right? You talked about how do you listen carefully, right, and not be judgmental about people. How do you understand that there are issues in the world today which, if you don't start thinking about now, it might be too late, and actually it's your life, right, more than ours, because we've probably gone from here in 10 or 20 years or 30 years. So I think that's the transformation that we would like you to go through, which is focus on the hard skills, knowledge, right, that you learn here, but more importantly, focus on the soft skills. And the soft skills being, how do you communicate? How do you listen? Listening is part of communication, right? How do you work with people? How do you learn to work with people? And it's a very, very important skill that companies are looking for, because those days when individuals can get things done are gone, right? Because technology is moving so fast, there is so much of expertise that is required. If people don't get together and work together, you will never accomplish. And that's not a very easy thing to do, because we Indians from LKG, our mothers and fathers ask, are you first in the class, right? So you're always taught to compete.
Absolutely.
So you have to rewire yourself that this is not a competition anymore, right? I mean, this is about how do we collaboratively win. So that I would say, if you do that, we've lived our purpose. We're able to enable that.
How has the KJSM story been for you till now? Your experience as a director, interacting with students, and really bringing about this change. But what is your story here? Like, if you had to narrate a little bit to us.
The story here is very simple, right? I mean, I believe that this institution has a significantly higher potential, right, in terms of how it is perceived, right, in terms of what it does, right? So that's been my story. I'm motivated every day in the morning, coming in and saying, 5 years from now, are people going to see this place differently? 5 years from now, are the recruiters going to say, I'm going to go to KJSM because the students who come out of there are very different from the IIMs, and that's the kind of people I want. So that's really what motivates me and keeps me coming back. And I think with students like you, I'm very confident we will be able to do it.
Good characters in your story.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. Good characters in my story, yes. Yeah.
What are your future plans for KJ Somaiya? Do you have any? What's your vision next? What's next?
So I said the vision is, if we live this purpose every day, right? And some of you go out and do things that really changes the world, right? I think that's the vision, right? Of course, one is about the students, but I would also like to see here, the faculty doing great research that is of relevance, because, there is a need. Any higher education institution like this is about teaching, and it is about also research, because one feeds into the other. So those are the twin kind of objectives, and the vision is very simple, how are we going to be seen differently? How are our students going to be seen, or graduates going to be seen differently by our stakeholders, which is the employees and the society? Increasingly, business school education is not just about finance and profits and bottom line, right? It is about social impact, because the world, India particularly, is one of the countries with the highest inequity, right? I mean, the inequity is reducing over the last couple of decades, but it is still, placed with. The danger in today's world is that globally this inequity can be even more accentuated because of the digital, the combination of changes that are happening in biology and the changes that are happening in AI and ML can completely change the world, where this inequity becomes even higher. You can have even today, look, 100 people globally have more wealth than 4 billion people at the bottom of the rung, right? That's the level, and this inequity can even further. And so our dream is really that we produce leaders who have this in mind, right? And when they lead organizations, when they do things, the social impact becomes one of the most important kind of factors that they take into account. It is not just money, it's the, the purpose, the planet, the people, and of course profits, because, let's face it, look, enterprises cannot survive without profit. Profits have to be there, but profit alone cannot be the motive, right? That's the whole objective.
So where do you see us, 5 years from now?
I see each one of you, being good middle management leaders 5 years from now in good organizations, right? And leading people, right? Because I think each one of you are capable of leading people. You have the right values, you speak well, you speak your mind, and this is what is important today, and that's what organizations are looking for.
And and along with that, what is something you don't want us to do 5 years down the line?
Well, I would certainly, I am very, very clear on that. I would certainly don't want to see you in the newspaper for the wrong reasons, right? At a fundamental level, I want you every day, you talked about looking in your mirror. I want you every day to go to your, before you go to sleep, whatever you do, you look at the mirror and you're proud of who you are.
That's a wonderful thought.
Okay.
We'll remember that always.
So, I mean, for me, this has been a wonderful opportunity, right? So, as I said earlier, I'm super impressed by some of the really honest answers and very insightful answers that all of you gave. I'm looking to you, all of you, as the catalyst and enabler to bring about the change management, to kind of spread the word within your classes, right? I mean, because there are, another 600 of you, with whom I have to communicate these messages about what we are trying to do here. So I really wish you all the best, and look forward to running into you in the corridor and maybe even having lunch with you one of these days.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. It was a really wonderful conversation.
And adding on to what you said, like you said that you want us to be catalysts and enablers. Catalysts and enablers function when there's a pioneer who wants change. So thank you for being the person who first pursues change and then expels it around.
Great. Yeah, we will together transform this place. Okay? Great. Thanks.